About eradicating acidity. Acidity is an issue that plagues millions of people across the world, and in India especially we know this because of the amount of antacids selling every single day across the country. So how do we eradicate acidity? How do we get rid of this problem, which is the root cause of almost every single disease? It's the root cause of inflammation, which in turn is the root cause of most diseases, ranging from diabetes to cancer to even hair loss to the inability to lose weight to obesity to your digestive system, bloating, flatulence. All of these issues are mainly caused by acidity. Now today, I'm going to talk about ways of eradicating acidity, because if you can do this for yourself, you do not have to be dependent on the quick fixes called antacids. Now I know antacids have their place in today's life, and for all the right reasons. When we're extremely acidic and we suffer from flatulence or bloating or that acid reflux that comes right up our throat, we may need an antacid at that point to give us immediate relief. But today, anything that gives us human beings immediate relief, it becomes a habit and we get addicted to it, which is why the market is there to give us something that can solve and give us quick relief all the time. But you need to understand the detrimental side effects of antacids today and how it's destroying your health. All the more when you can use lifestyle to eradicate acidity, which is inexpensive, which is free, which only requires you to do and make minor shifts in your lifestyle. Why wouldn't you choose lifestyle over antacids, which is slowly destroying your health? So number one, let's go back to school for a minute, where we studied the pH scale. So in the center at 7, you have your neutral value. Below 7 is acidic, and above 7 is alkaline. Now, the human body has natural pH regulators in the system already, which means the human body has the ability to regulate our acidity and alkaline levels naturally. The problem is when we choose lifestyles and we eat the wrong way, that constantly makes us more acidic, okay, beyond the ability for the human body to regulate your acid and alkaline levels naturally the way it's meant to be. Let's understand the detrimental effects of antacids. It's so easy for doctors today, or for even human beings, to self-medicate themselves. They don't even go by what the doctors say anymore. Number one, you have acidity, take an antacid. Any patient who comes to me and is on an X amount of medications, every single day we see that there is an antacid that is also prescribed. You need to understand that antacids have magnesium in, and magnesium causes diarrhea. So then pharmaceutical companies add aluminium to the antacids, which cause constipation. Okay? And this is to make an antacid easy for you to take, so it gives you that immediate relief. But antacids make your system more and more immune to it, which means you require more and more antacids as your acidic levels increase in the human body. Taking antacids for a long period of time also blocks the absorption of iron into your body, into your cells, and it also blocks the absorption of B12. And what are two common deficiencies that we have in almost everyone today? Iron deficiencies, and we have B12 deficiencies. So then we're prescribed iron tablets, which has its own side effects of constipation and making the liver more sluggish, or we have B12 deficiencies and we resort to taking B12 supplements to improve that deficiency. But we never get to the root cause, which is the antacid, and the root cause of taking antacids is acidity, which can be easily reversed. So number one, let's understand how the human body works. We require acidic levels in the stomach. Your pH in your stomach is about 3.5, which is required to digest and break down food. So we require acidic levels in the human body. The problem is we also require alkaline levels when the nutrients from the food that your stomach has broken down now needs to get into your blood and be transported to all your cells. Those nutrients require an alkaline medium to get into your blood and reach your cells. Now, if it's too acidic, what's going to happen is you already have a buffer of alkaline ions in your bloodstream to make any acidic food alkaline so that they can be transported and absorbed into your cells. Now understand this very, very clearly, because when you understand this, you'll understand why you need to make changes in your lifestyle and address the root cause. So you have acidic food getting into your blood. Your blood has to be alkaline. So your blood starts using alkaline buffers. If that's not enough, calcium starts getting leached from your bones, because calcium is highly alkaline. So your blood cannot be acidic. Your blood has to be alkaline in nature. So now the body will do anything to make the blood alkaline. So it starts leaching calcium from your bones. Now guess what? Calcium will be leached from the end of your bones, where your tendons are, your cartilage, your ligaments, the end of your bones, which are the softest. The center of your bone, which is the most dense and the hardest, is very difficult for the body to leach calcium from. So it starts leaching calcium from the end of your bones, your ball and socket joints, your toes, your fingers, your knees, your lower back, all of these areas where it can leach calcium from effectively, which is why most of our pains and most of our joint pains start in the areas where your bone begins. That's because you have less calcium, and because you have less calcium, you also have less vitamin D3. Because you see, for vitamin D3 to be absorbed into the body, it requires the right amount of calcium. So if you have less calcium, you automatically have less D3. So many people today, so many people who are deficient in D3 say, how come? I'm taking supplements, I take my injections, but 3 months and 6 months down the line, I have a deficiency again. That's because your body's leaching calcium, and because you have less calcium, no matter how much you supplement, you will continuously have increased levels of D3, and then again your D3 levels are going to fall. And that's because the root cause is acidity. What more, when it's done with leaching calcium, it starts leaching a very, very important mineral called magnesium. Now, magnesium has over 300 extremely important functions in the human body, right from preventing cardiac arrest to promoting the health of your heart, your liver, your kidneys, your muscle movement, the metabolism of carbohydrates and protein. That's how important magnesium is. But your blood, your body will leach magnesium after calcium to make your blood alkaline, because our lifestyles are making us have an extremely acidic body. So you see the root cause of most problems. People who are on antacids, they wreak havoc with their kidney health and their heart health as well. So when someone has high blood pressure, someone has kidney problems, and they're on antacids, guess what? Their problem of high blood pressure and kidney issues is only going to get worse and worse until those antacids stop. And how do we stop those antacids? By changing our lifestyle. So let's get right into the top lifestyle changes that you can make that do not require medication to reverse acidity. Currently, I have tens and thousands of people across the world who have reduced acidity by only making lifestyle changes, and they no longer pop antacids when they face acidity. Number one, we have to understand that acidity doesn't only mean that you'll have heartburn or acid reflux. Sometimes you don't even have those symptoms. Those are silent symptoms. But when you pass a motion, if you have a burning sensation in your rectum, that means you are overly acidic. If you constantly have joint pain, lower back pain, knee pain, arthritis, you can't blame it on arthritis. The problem is when the moment we label a disease, we label an ailment with a name, we only look at it that way. So we look at arthritis as arthritis. We don't look at it as inflammation. We don't look at it as acidity. We don't look at it as a deficiency. So number one, we look at lifestyle changes when it comes to acidity. The gap between your meals is the most important lifestyle change. If you are keeping long gaps between your meals, you will be acidic. And let's understand why. It takes an average of 3.5 to 4.5 hours for the human body to break down a normal balanced meal, which means after 3.5 to 4 hours, when your body is expecting its next meal, if you're not eating at that time, automatically your body will still produce hydrochloric acid, which is the acid in your stomach used to digest and break down food. Now that acid is supposed to act upon food to digest it. But because you skipped your meal, or because you're eating a meal later than usual, this acid has no food medium to break up on. So it starts eating and acting upon the inner mucosal linings of your stomach, causing an acid reflux where your body tries to reject the acid, the extra acid production, and that comes up right up your esophagus to your throat. And that's that bitter acidic taste that you feel in your mouth, or the burning sensation that you feel in your esophagus or your throat. That's detrimental because your esophagus has a very, very thin tissue. And over time, acid starts making small holes in that, and then you have more issues. So the second sensation is bloating or flatulence, the byproduct of producing acid, and that acid acting on no food produces gas, which comes out and expresses itself in flatulence, which is the body's natural defense mechanism to remove gas, or bloating. And that bloating is nothing but an acidic medium. So when you skip meals or you leave long gaps between your meals, automatically you promote acidity within your system. The second tip, when you eat your food too fast, and I go on about the importance of chewing your food. You see, when you start chewing your food, you start producing saliva. Saliva contains amylase and lipase, which are two enzymes that start breaking down fat and carbohydrates in your mouth. So you see, digestion starts in your mouth of carbohydrates and fats. But when you eat too quickly and you swallow your food down because you're not mindfully chewing it, you send larger chunks of undigested food, which should have been pre-digested in your mouth, into your stomach. And now your stomach has to produce more volumes of acid to break down food which should have been pre-digested in your mouth. So again, you have more acid than your body requires, you have bloating, you have flatulence, you have a weaker digestive system, and you probably have acid reflux again. So you eat slowly, you chew your food, and you start eradicating acidity yourself. And because you produce these large volumes of acid, you pop an antacid, which basically goes down and reduces that acidic level which your stomach actually needs to break down food into nutrients that then your cells have to absorb. So taking antacids also blocks the absorption of nutrients from the food that you eat into your cells. So you start getting malnourished because you pop antacids. And malnourishment is the number one cause